This is Coffee, Country, and Cody.
Well, welcome in here. WSM Radio all over the world at WSMradio.com, our terrestrial signal at 6:50 a.m. and at 8 o'clock Central, like right now, 9 o'clock Eastern, weekday mornings, Coffee, Country, and Cody, live. You can watch us, hope you will, on our Circle streaming platforms, which you can link to, or you can actually watch at circlecountry.com. And I've been in this studio for 30 years in this room. This room has been here 40 years.
They haven't let you out in a long time.
Interestingly enough, I was 35 years old when I walked in here the first time.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
And we are moving to Mr. Acuff's house. It's going to be our new studio home, state-of-the-art complex for radio and television on the Opry Plaza. For those of you who don't know, it's where Charlie Mattos, mom and dad, Hortense and Charles the Senior, once had their picture taken by Mr. Acuff's mailbox. If you know where that is, then you know where our new studio home is located. If you're walking into the Opry House up the plaza to the left, you see that little brick house, nice tidy little brick house over there. That's going to be our home starting the first week of July. We've got a temporary stop in between for about a week in our production studio at the E.W. Bud Wendell building.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't come see us there.
No.
Don't do that. My favorite part of that photo is my mom is clutching our Grand Ole Opry tickets in her hand, because that was the first time any of us had ever been to the Grand Ole Opry.
So cool.
Yeah.
That is so cool. Well, I will tell you, at the risk of maybe outing myself, but this past weekend we came to Opry Mills and had some fun at Dave and Buster's, and I said, you guys want to see the new studio? And it was my husband and Reese and her friend Anna. And so I took them through. I don't know if I should have, because there was nobody there. I was like, am I breaking in, entering? I mean, I do work here, but
You got a key card?
I did.
Yeah, that's all we need.
Well, and they didn't have it activated yet because they didn't even have the door locked. So I just opened the door and walked in. I was like, hey, anybody here?
Security.
This is
Security.
what my grandmother would come in when she would come in. She'd go, woo! That way she would open the door. Woo!
I'm here. Hello.
Woo! Anybody here? So that was me. But yeah, it was really good. And it was so much fun because Reese and Paul were like, wow, this place is going to be amazing.
Yeah, and what's interesting is so many celebrations. You know, Terry Clark just celebrated 20 years of membership at the Grand Ole Opry. The Opry House turned 50. Mr. Acuff moved in 40 years ago into that house.
Yeah.
At the same time, we were moving into this studio for WSM Radio, which E.W. Bud Wendell, our corporate building, bears his name when you drive by on Briley Parkway. He brought Charlie Douglas in, and the studio was built onto the hotel to start what was known as the Music Country Radio Network.
That's so cool.
Is Kyle coming by to see us this week? Kyle
He
Cantrell?
is. He and Keith Bilbrey are coming by Friday
Great.
morning. By the way, speaking of 40, Lori Morgan just celebrated 40 years.
40
too.
years
So,
at the Opry, yeah. And
That's so cool.
so, and 30 years for me here. Charlie's been in this room 20 years now. And
3.
she's been here 20 minutes. She's doing a fine job. Thinks she's going to work out. And then there was Annie Nye, our studio director, who was saying earlier, I die a little more each day.
Well, she was being funny.
That's what working with us will do for a person. It will suck the life right out of you.
Tune in. Glad you're watching. Glad you're listening.
By the way, Kelly, we want to promote the fact that Jim Moose Brown, Moose, longtime friend of ours, he's been coming to the studio for most of those 30 years I've been here. Johnny Tolley's got a new album that Moose produced, and it's called Coming Back for You. And Johnny was born in, well, he's in Arkansas. He was born in Tennessee, but raised in Arkansas and synonymous with that red dirt, that whole scene out there in that southwestern part of the country. So he's going to be in the studio with us in a little bit. And then Mandy Barnett to talk about Variety on Maine.
I know. That's such a cool.
It is.
Such a cool series.
And they got a great lineup, including Charlie McCoy and Steve Dorff and folks like that. Logan Ledger.
Love it.
So tell you more.
I'll tell you more about who just got married because we hadn't said congratulations yet. So that's coming up. Miranda Lambert setting things on fire. And, Thomas Rhett can't ever coach his kids in any kind of sport. We'll tell you why.
And Marry Me Chicken.
Oh,
Are you
yeah.
familiar with the phenomenon in the kitchen these days? Online, Marry Me Chicken. That's what my daughter fixed for Daddy for Father's Day yesterday. And boy, the whole family is now addicted. That's all right. Bury me in the mix. 13 after 8 on Coffee, Country, and Cody. Jim Moose Brown just sat down with a new project that he and a longtime friend, Johnny Tolley, have finished called Coming Back for You. And that's going to be the first thing we play here in just a little bit. But welcome, gentlemen. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you, sir.
And a belated Father's Day greeting to you both.
Thank you, sir.
Here.
Same to you.
And we've already, Kelly, found what an interesting connection these two have and how far back they go. And Johnny, you hired him when he was how old?
14 or 15.
This was in Arkansas?
Arkansas. He could play piano and guitar. He strapped the guitar over him and sit at the piano, and he played half piano and half guitar. And he was incredible.
Man, that is the epitome of utility player right there.
So you're Tennessee born? Where?
I was born in McKenzie, Tennessee.
And then headed to Arkansas when you were how young?
5.
Okay, so
So
your family
I was
moved out
basically
there.
Arkansas. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
My dad was a administrator, school administrator.
All right.
So I stayed on the straight and narrow when I could.
And you've been in that North Texas area, north of Dallas, Denton area for
Yes, sir. About 9 years.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And so you went to Arkansas, Moose, when?
I was born in Detroit, and my parents were from Arkansas, and they retired when I was about 14 and moved to Northeast Arkansas. So I was in for culture shock, but I'd never listened to country music before, and first time I got exposed to it. And I met John early on. He had a band, and I started playing with him and honing my craft. So I owe John a lot.
So what were you getting paid at 15? What was he?
Oh, did I get paid? I don't remember. Maybe we need to work out something.
As little as I could pay you.
Come to think of it, Johnny. Yeah.
I don't remember the pay. I just remember the experience I was getting, you know.
It's kind of like Waylon in the old days. Waylon would get restless, and he'd go down to the publishing house. I think it was BMI. Either BMI or ASCAP. I forgot who he was with. I want to say it was BMI. He's like, I know y'all got some money in here that belongs to me. And I'll be back at the end of the day to get my check.
That's fantastic.
I miss those great characters.
Absolutely.
It's too funny. So what was the first thing that you remember playing for him that would cause him to hire you? Like, what was the audition process?
Well, I'll tell you, I was playing in a band called Southern Comfort, and it was just a bunch of local
at
guys.
14?
At 14, yeah. Yeah. Came up hard. No, it was a bunch of local guys, and we kind of got the reputation of being one of the better country bands in Northeast Arkansas. And so sometimes when Opry stars would come through, Charlie Walker, remember the brothers, Wilburn brothers, yeah, we would be their band, and that's how I met Johnny.
No kidding.
And he just introduced himself to me and said, "Hey, I've got my own band in Blytheville," and because Jonesboro was in a dry county, there was no places to play there, so I'd have to drive 50 miles. My mom would drive me 50 miles to Blytheville to play with Johnny, and that's how we met.
And Jerry Clower was a big part of your life.
He was. I opened shows for him for a long time.
How did that friendship develop and then become a working relationship?
When I first got out of college, I was going to teach school because that's what my degree was in, and I played at a banquet, and a guy named Ernie Powers was there, and he was out of Dallas, and he booked Holiday Inns, and so I started playing the Holiday Inn circuit and didn't teach, much to my parents' displeasure. But anyway, I worked a couple of shows as opening acts. He could get me opening acts. Ernie could with different people. And when I opened for Jerry a couple of times, he liked that format. He liked just one guy and a guitar, not something loud to introduce him and bring him on. And so that's when I met the great Tandy Rice, So he used me all he could.
Charlie and Tandy worked together.
We did a morning show at WLAC at the other end of the spectrum for a couple of years. Mm-hmm. Yeah. One of my favorite quotes from Tandy is Charlie Mattos, quirky as hell, which is the pot calling the kettle black. If you ever knew Tandy Rice back in the day, but anyway, but he could tell a story, could he not, Johnny?
Oh man, he was just great. And going to the shows, he's almost funnier than he was on stage, just telling you stuff.
Oh yeah.
So.
Yeah, he had us in the floor at Brown's Diner telling a Jerry Clower story one day that cannot be repeated on air.
Right.
But it may be the best ever.
Yes, it's very good.
And as told by Tandy Rice, perfect. In the perfect setting, I might add, because I was just there with Friedman's Army-Navy Outdoors farewell tour coming to a close on Saturday. We shared the afternoon in the parking lot with Brown's Diner. When I got in my car, it was 108 on Saturday.
Oh, man.
And another name came up off the air when you sat down, and that was Joe Hostetler, the great director at the Nashville Network, TNN.
Yes,
when I first got here, I worked with Joe. What's your history there?
Well, I had a song out years ago when TNN was going, and we made a video. Jim produced it, and Jim's produced everything I've ever done.
Oh,
so,
wow.
And
Still
we
pretty
did,
good, though.
Yeah, it hadn't hurt him too bad yet. So we did a video, and Jim's wife, Jamie, was working at TNN. And so she got it to Joe Hostetler, and he played the video on Video Country with Shelley Mangrum.
Oh, yeah.
And
Wow.
And I was a guest on there one time, so that's how we got to.
And Shelley Mangrum did one of the two dance shows. She was a Miss Tennessee, former Miss Tennessee.
Beautiful girl.
And she was out of Knoxville, and Katie Haas did the dance show from the Wild Horse here in Nashville when the dance line craze was at its peak. I mean, one show was not enough. We had to have more than one line dance show.
I remember Katie too. Remember Al Winter? I miss Al Winter. They used to do Video Morning together too. Yeah.
Actually sat in with them, came up during my years with KKYX in San Antonio we'd come up during CMA week, we'd come up during Fanfare, do remote broadcasts on this complex, and we actually sat in with them one morning while they were taping over in, the area that is now the parking lot of Opry Mills. That's where all that was, with the park and the adjacent studios, the old Gaslight Theater. That's where Ralph Emery, Kelly, your first connection here, that's where he did his show. It's in that theater in Crook and Chase.
And they just got it's breaking news. They just got the email. They are going into the Radio Hall of Fame, Crook and Chase.
Oh, are they really?
Just announced. Just came through my inbox. So congratulations to them. Love them.
Lorianne and Charlie.
Yeah.
All right, Coming Back for You. That is the title track of this brand new album. And if people want to follow up on you, your career, and how to get this music, what do you recommend, John?
They can get it through any internet things like
streaming services,
Spotify, yes, or Amazon. It's on eBay. It's on all of the internet type things you can get it off of.
I have to ask, and when folks will see on Circle when they see the album cover, but you with a cowboy hat, there is a striking resemblance to Robert Duvall. Have you ever been asked to sign an autograph as Robert Duvall? Because I can see you in Lonesome Dove on that album cover.
Well, I appreciate
Maybe I'm the only one from your reaction. I think I'm the only one who has ever said that now.
That's
but
a compliment.
But I'm curious
I've not heard that.
Okay.
I used to, if I had a cowboy hat on years ago, McLeod. They used to
Dennis Weaver.
Dennis Weaver, yes, sir.
Yeah.
But never Robert Duvall.
I meant it as a compliment. Take it as one.
I took it as one. Thank you, sir.
I see you now in Lonesome Dove 2.
Yeah.
Lonesome Dove 2.
Sip of whiskey in the evening. Right?
Cool drink of buttermilk.
That's it.
Augustus McCrae.
Yeah, Augustus.
Also known as Johnny Tolley this morning on Coffee, Country, and Cody.
More Coffee, Country, and Cody is on WSM.
Passing a stone or something over there with? Huh?
All good. All good.
All I heard was, Good morning at 8:29 on Coffee, Country, and Cody, and we've got them all cozied up over there in Kelly's Corner here on Coffee, Country. And we're going to do something we've never done. Moose is going to strum and Kelly's going to chord.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, can you even? There's nothing that could nothing good can happen here.
Like Mother Maybelle and Ike Everly. It's actually video proof it can be done. So Johnny Tolley in studio featuring new music from Coming Back for You, produced by Jim Moose Brown, who's in studio with him this morning. You had a great story about arriving in Nashville at age 19.
I don't know if it's a great story, but it's a true story. So my wife and I, we got married when we had just turned 19. And we lived in a mobile home in northeast Arkansas. Didn't have any money. We didn't know a soul, but I just knew I needed to get here. So we pulled that mobile home to Hendersonville, Tennessee, and her parents came with us. And as we were setting the trailer up, and they were about to leave their 19-year-old baby girl here in a strange state with no job waiting and all that stuff, the trailer across the street, the front door burst open, and these two guys rolled out fist fighting, and they rolled down the steps and just going at it. So all the neighbors start coming out, and we're hearing the commotion. 2 police cars pull up, jump out, put them in handcuffs. And my mother-in-law is just in shock standing next to me. And I asked the lady next to us, I said, ma'am, does this kind of stuff happen often? She said, Lord, yes, they call this place the jungle. And my mother-in-law just started crying. And that was our first day here.
Wow.
Did you ever write a song called The Jungle?
And I never did. I probably should.
Wow.
Well, Johnny, what do you guys want to do first here, live at least, on WSM? Oh, and tell the story about your teaching years here in Nashville as it connects to WSM and Coffee Country and Cody.
Oh, yes. I taught school here about 16 years, and I listened to Coffee Country and Cody every morning going to school, and it made my day. You guys made my day. That's why it's such an honor to be here with you today. I just, you dreaded going to school, but I thought listening to you guys made it so much better.
How special is that?
You guys were great. Still are.
And he was a contest winner, Kelly, at one time on the show.
I said, did we ever get those tickets to you? Probably not.
I don't think so.
Well, that's what precipitated Moose's story. He said in the middle of taking his information, he said, I'll have to call you back. I got to break up a fight.
Where did you teach?
I taught at Head Middle School.
Okay. Middle school.
I know they'll be glad to hear that.
Sounds about right.
All right. Well, Moose got his guitar pulled up there. Tell us what you're going to do.
Well, I thought we'd do a song that Moose and I wrote together that we had on hold, that we had, or at least I had big ambitions somebody good would cut it, but I think they didn't, but you never know. So
That is spectacular is what that is. That is Jim Moose Brown with Johnny Tolley in studio this morning. 21 Guns from Jamie Johnson, and you can find it. That line in there about the rifles fire and your life flashes before my eyes is just...
That was all true stuff. We got together to write, and Jamie actually had that title, but he didn't really have any ideas. And
said he'd been to a number of military funerals.
Yeah, my dad was in the Marines. He was in World War II. He fought at Guam and Iwo Jima. And his funeral was the first time I'd ever seen a military funeral, and the folding of the flag just... if you haven't witnessed it, it's one of the most life-moving, life-changing things you can ever witness. And Jamie was telling me, he said, yeah, only the best of the best get the honor to fold the flag. That's such a high honor. And Jamie's a Marine, and so that song just kind of poured out when we started talking about funerals and military funerals.
When they present to the family member,
Oh,
it
my
just
word. It's
kills
the most
you. It
moving
hits you,
thing.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So,
Well, thanks for doing it for us this
thank
morning.
you for asking.
And Johnny Tolley,
yes, sir.
keep listening, man.
I love it. I love you guys. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate
This
it.
guy right here is a good man and a good friend. We've been friends for going on 50 years and made a lot of music together.
And you got brand new music, still making music. Moose produced Coming Back for You, the brand new Johnny Tolley album. Before we transition from our 40-year home, WSM radio home, to our new home in Roy Acuff's house on the Opry Plaza.
I think that Mr. Acuff will be very happy that we're there.
I think he would be too.
Yeah.
And it's extra special for me having to have the opportunity to get to know him a little bit. He and Minnie, toward the end of their lives, when I would come up here for CMA and fanfare back in the day, and different opportunities to come do remote broadcasts and go to the Opry House. They were doing all those matinee shows because the park, Opryland theme park, Opryland USA was open. And so they were fixtures. He was the ambassador, truly, of the park and the Opry.
Saw him on stage the very first time we went to the Opry with my parents. Yeah.
Did you not tell me? Did I dream this? Garth was there the first time you went?
Yeah, Garth was there. Did Two of a Kind, working on a Full House, and the dance.
Was it his debut?
No, it wasn't his debut. He'd played a couple of times before.
Okay.
And a rare appearance from Tom T. Hall. Tom T. did not play that often, so we got to see Tom T. Hall. Yeah, but I think I was fortunate that I wasn't at the podium when Mr. Acuff was working, because he would say something like, who's that boy over there? That's Charlie Mattos. Let's not have that happen again.
Quite possibly.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's so funny. That's
Tom T.
hilarious.
I heard Tom T. singing, faster horses, younger women, Oh, the whiskey, more money on the way in this morning.
Well, you know what was really cool? So Saturday we came over. We spent the day over at Opry Mills, and we were doing stuff. And I took my husband and my daughter and her friend Anna through the new facility, and I just said, this is where we're going to be, and I'll be sitting there, and this is Charlie and Bill, and we were walking through all of it, and they said, now whose house was this? And I said, well, it was Mr. Acuff's house. And then we went backstage, and Reese said, that's him, right? And pointed to the picture, and I was like, right, yeah. So I got man, it did my heart good, because I'm like, she needs to know this. The next generation has to know who he was, and Miss Minnie. And she knows Minnie. She knows all about Minnie, but she hadn't heard that much about Mr. Acuff. So.
Well, the artist entrance that we walk through for every show, we passed the fountain that belonged to Minnie and Henry.
Yes.
That was at their house that was moved to the Opry House, which just celebrated 50 years. Mr. Acuff moved in that house 40 years ago, same time we moved into this studio, and now we're just swapping out with him. And temporarily next week we'll be at the E.W. Bud Wendell building, and Mr. Wendell was the one responsible for building this studio and bringing Charlie Douglas to town to lead out on the Music Country Radio Network. And later in the week, Kyle Cantrell and Keith Bilbrey, with whom they worked, of course, with Charlie as a part of his staff. They're going to be here to share memories. I know for a fact that Kyle has got it. I mean, he's got all that stuff committed to memory. And the different transitions of the studio and looks that it's had over the years and timeline of when things happened. But
Annie would like permission to run through the shot.
Run
So go ahead.
through,
3,
Annie.
2, 1, go.
Go. There goes Annie.
Okay. All right. Very good.
Annie just took her shoes off so it wouldn't be loud. But then also when she took her shoes off, have you seen the videos of the moms that throw their sandals at their kids? It just like when they would get angry, they would throw their sandals at their kids. I was like, is that sandal coming to my head? I'm going to watch out here just in case.
I got the
wasn't-
fly swatter as a kid.
Me too.
Yeah. Nothing hurts like a fly swatter.
Me too.
Yeah.
Fly swatter sting,
Yeah.
man. You get that air going through because of the holes. All right, well, let's talk about something else. George Strait setting a new record. This was impressive. My goodness. Anybody that went to the show, you got bragging rights for a while. It happened at Texas A&M. This was at the Kyle Field in College Station. He beat an old record. He had an old record of 104, and that was at AT&T Stadium, 104,000. This night, 905,000 people. 110,905.
what are cities that have a population of 110,000?
That's a great
would you
question.
say?
That is a great question. That's how many people were there to see Katie Offerman, Parker McCullum, and George Strait. And apparently when he went on, he just said, hey, thank y'all for coming. You know George. Just thank y'all for coming. Happy that you made it out. Happy. And it was Parker McCullum's birthday that night, so they got to sing happy birthday to Parker. Isn't that great?
And our Opry sister Marty Slayton, who sings
Yes.
background vocals, and Tony King, our Opry
Yes.
brother.
Oh, Tony was out
sing-
there too. Yeah.
So
cool.
we with the Opry well represented.
All right,
Nice.
between 109 and 111,000 people. Pueblo, Colorado, Odessa, Texas, Santa Maria, California, Miami Gardens, Florida, where the Dolphin Stadium is.
Wow.
So everybody in Odessa
Would have
Went
gone to
have gone to
the
the show.
see George Strait. That's right.
I think if you'd offered them tickets, everyone in Odessa would have gone to the show.
Correct. From one dad to another, Thomas Rhett, he's got 4 baby girls, and they are just into everything. I say baby girls, but Willa Gray is 8 now, and the little one is 2, but they're all playing different sports. So I had a chance to sit down with him and just ask, do you coach any of these? So here's what he had to say.
I'm unpredictable.
Okay.
I'm an unpredictable father on the sideline. I kind of helped coach Willa Gray's soccer team and was immediately convicted in my spirit that I don't need to do that.
Wait, we need some backstory. What was happening?
Yeah, like I don't sit with my family while my kids play sports.
Are you the one that gets up and paces?
I do
the
pace.
Okay.
No matter what sport they're playing, I have to make sure we have the equipment at home,
Sure.
right? So like when
Okay.
Willa Gray started playing basketball, had to get a basketball goal. Ada James started playing soccer goal, the whole thing. And so like I'm constantly like, y'all want to go practice? And they're like, no. And I'm like, why? You know, we need to be the best. You know, so I'm praying about it.
So I'm praying about it.
Bathe it in prayer, brother. Bathe it in prayer.
I was convicted in my spirit. Those two phrases sent me. I was just crying laughing. So congrats to Thomas Rhett. We love you, buddy.
He needs to be the evangelist of the country music revival.
Yeah.
Thomas Rhett. You're on Coffee, Country, and Cody. Good morning from Nashville.
This is Coffee, Country, and Cody.
Mandy Barnett. The entirety of my time in Nashville, we have known each other because the first live event I ever hosted was her debut night as Patsy Cline, and always Patsy Cline with Terry Myers at Ryman Auditorium. And here she is 30 years later. We just keep hanging out. Grand Ole Opry, Coffee, Country, and Cody. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Isn't that something? It doesn't seem that long ago. Really.
No.
It really doesn't.
But
here we are.
And we just did Opry Country Classics together recently at the Ryman during the CMA Music Festival. She was officially inducted as a member on November 2nd, 2021, both her invite night and induction night.
Yes.
We still share that too. So a lot of wonderful history as we sit in this studio for the last time.
Yeah.
We've been in this room 40 years. I've been here for 30 of those, as I mentioned. And
Yes.
As of Friday, we wrap it up. And just a week of transition. Hopefully, a week of transition.
Yeah.
And the
Knock on wood.
First week of July, we move into Mr. Acup's house on the Opry Plaza, which you know well.
I'm so excited about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kelly, without proper access, or
Oh,
you had access.
I had
you
access.
gained access to the premises.
the door is
You
unlocked.
didn't have permission necessarily. That's what I was.
Well, I work here,
Yes.
and I do have a badge that
Yeah.
says I work here. So I didn't.
We
I
don't need no stinking
I
badges.
wasn't worried that somebody was going to stop us, but we went through it on Saturday just to see it, and it is so cool. And the horn is already hung inside our studio, and it is the horn that was outside of the speaker the night that they broadcast the Grand Ole Opry.
From downtown.
1925, the oldest
goodness.
piece of memorabilia that we have, and it's
Yeah.
already hung. It's
They-
the first piece that went in.
Put those on the outside of
Yeah.
the buildings, multiple buildings downtown to broadcast this new thing. I mean,
that
think
cool?
about the invention of the internet and what was running through our minds. Well, the same thing was going through the minds of people in October of 1925, October the 5th, when that happened. And yeah, those were mounted on the outside of National Life and Accident Insurance Company and other buildings.
So people were
Yeah,
just
the
standing
studio.
outside listening
Yeah.
to the horn?
Yeah,
That's
they-
amazing.
They were just
Isn't
standing
that
outside
cool?
listening to this
Yeah.
thing called radio.
Oh, they had a parade. They had a band.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like a big deal. Yeah.
We actually signed on at night, and I think the first song ever played was a national anthem by the
Yeah.
Shriners Band.
Well,
wasn't
it was supposed. I think we were supposed to sign on at 7. We signed on at 8 because Eddie Stubbs got stuck in traffic.
Variety
good
on
one.
Main is now Mandy is working on this project and so many other things we'll talk about. But tonight at the Franklin Theater, Mandy and Monica Ramey are there. We'll tell you about their special guests and their lineup. But first, a request from Charles Mattos Jr. What Mandy Barnett selection have you chosen?
Always love when Mandy does this at the Opry, and I think this is from your first
It is.
debut album, right?
Sure
Yep,
is.
I love this
Yep.
too.
Was this Asylum?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought, boy, I remember it well. Remember Kim, thinking of people I've worked with over the years. There was music.
Leslie?
Kim Leslie.
Yeah.
I can remember you coming by, hanging out in her office as she was music director at the time.
You know, I'm still in contact with all those folks at Asylum. We all just have a special bond. I loved, I was 19 years old, and I love all those folks from Asylum. So just some great.
Who was your producer on this?
Kyle Lenning.
Kyle, with whom you're working again, you tell
I'm
me.
working with Kyle again. He's an amazing producer and just an amazing person, and we're having a wonderful time.
From Mandy Barnett in studio with us this morning to promote Variety on Main, and a performance that she's doing is coming to Chiefs, Eric Church's place. Yes. Chiefs downtown on Broadway on the 28th of this month.
That is an Opry Dan Rogers favorite as well. We're both very happy every time you do that. You did an Anne Murray song that I'd never heard you do before
Yeah.
Saturday night. It was like magical. It was so good.
Thank
Yeah.
you. You Needed Me. Yeah, it's also from the album, A Nashville Songbook. But I remember hearing that song all the time when I was a kid.
Yeah.
People want to hear those songs. And so I was thinking I need to add that to my Opry repertoire.
And you mentioned Kyle Lenning a moment ago as a producer on what we just heard, and the fact that I asked you if you wrote it because I couldn't remember. You said Costas wrote it.
Yeah, Costas wrote it.
And that guy's in the Nashville Songwriters Hall of Fame.
Yes, such an
And
incredible
for good
writer,
reason.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So talk about Variety on Main tonight in your lineup and how did this start? What's the birth of Variety on Main?
Well, we were talking with the Franklin Theater about working on a series, and they basically said, if you can dream it, do it. So I've always loved variety shows, and I thought, well, it'd be cool to kind of do a mixture of all the different variety shows that I've loved, from Lawrence Welk to Hee Haw to the Opry to Soul Train, just to make it multi-genre. And so that we have a killer house band made up of Pat Coyle, Sam Hunter, who's also an amazing singer, Larry Aberman, and Brian Allen. Charlie McCoy has been joining us the past few months. He'll be with us tonight. Monica Ramey's a great jazz singer. She is a B.G. Adair protege, nice. And so she's my co-producer. So it's just been really a fun thing to be able to curate a show. And I'm doing the booking, she's doing the scheduling, and so we kind of stay in our own lanes, which is good because then we don't have any knockdown dragouts.
And I see that speaking of Songwriter Hall of Famer, Steve Dorff is there tonight.
Steve Dorff, yeah, he's written so many songs. There's no way to name them all.
Greatest melody guy in town.
Well, and if you let him, he'll do, like, if you ask, he might do the medley of all the theme songs that he wrote for the TV shows in the 80s. Yep. I mean, every well-known theme song that I remember watching growing up. And Steve's like, yeah, I wrote that. I think that's it. The name of his book is I wrote that one too.
It is. Coca-Cola Cowboy, Across My Heart. He's written songs for Streisand, Celine Dion. And one of my favorite ones that he wrote, Eddie Rabbit, Any Which Way But Loose.
Oh,
yeah.
That's such a great song.
Well, Logan Ledger, great
Ledger.
California talent. We love him so much. His voice is extraordinary.
He is extraordinary. He does have that kind of Bakersfield. He reminds me of Buck Owens a little bit. But he reminds me of a lot of different things. But all I know is he's an amazing singer, and I'm just so thrilled to have him on the show.
And he's there along with the Dancing Chuns.
The Dancing Chuns, yes. Larry Chun, Pokey Chun, who's also one of the dancers on the Grand Ole Opry. His wife Cheryl and their two sons. They're amazing. And so they'll be doing a little clogging for us tonight.
All right. Rhonda Sweat.
Rhonda Sweat, she is a Nashville native Nashvilleian. She's a public servant by day and a comedian by night.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's a true variety show in that you got the comedy in there too.
Yeah.
Along with the
This is our first go
musical
at comedy. So so we're trying things as we roll along, and so looking forward to having her.
And the only one I haven't mentioned that you haven't talked about is the Ukadelics.
The Ukadelics.
With whom I am not familiar with the Ukadelics, but I want to be. Tell me more.
They're a regional band, and they play the ukulele. It's a band of ukuleles. And, of course, I love the uke. I've been playing uke for a long time, and so that's how I discovered them. And they're just this little wacky little band. They do originals and covers, and they're fun, and they're entertaining. So that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really are. So just everyone's a little different. And then, of course, I do some singing. The band plays, Charlie plays, Monica sings, and so we're just keeping them guessing from person to person.
Kelly Sutton will come dance.
Yeah.
Well,
she got a tambourine.
I do have a tambourine.
Yeah.
Multi-talent.
Well, then you may have a spot on Variety on Main.
Well, it's such a great venue too. I mean, I love the Franklin Theater. I love the Square. You know, growing up in Providence, I had no idea what the South was, but what I pictured it to be is that square. That's the quintessential Southern square of what I imagined as a kid that the South looked like. So you can go have a great meal, walk over to the theater, and never leave like a block. It's just fantastic.
It's so easy. Yeah. There's free parking in the parking garage. It's, and quality entertainment. You don't have to leave Franklin, or you can come from Nashville. We have people that come from Bowling Green and all over, because it's just a quality show. Everyone is talented, and it's just a lot of fun. We've really enjoyed it.
VarietyOnMain.com, by the way, if people want to follow up.
Somebody that lives around the corner, Kathy Lee Gifford, lives right around the corner from me.
Yeah, I've actually been to her house. I wrote a song with her.
I was going to say.
A while back. So.
She needs to just pop in. I mean, she's right there.
That's true. Well, maybe she will.
Yeah.
Maybe she will.
Just putting it out there.
We do have a code for $10 off. We should have rethought the code because it's VOM, VOM, June.
Variety on me.
JUNE. Those sneaky acronyms. But anyway, for $10 off tickets, you can use those. There's also a a bundle for June, July, and August. Next month we're going to have Pat McLaughlin, Kim Ritchie, and in August, Crystal Gale is going to join us.
Oh, wonderful!
So that's going to be amazing.
So as we were talking history, the Opry House is 50 years old this year. We're coming up on 100 years of WSM and the Grand Ole Opry. 40 years here. Mr. Acuff moved in his house the same year we moved into the studio that we're moving out of on Friday of this week. If you just joined us and missed that part of the story. We talked about Opryland USA and those wonderful days and what a springboard it was for so many talented people in the music business. And you were talking about working at Dollywood.
Yeah.
And tell us about the talent competition. I never knew this story in Mandy Barnett's storied career.
The first year it was open, 1986, there was a week-long competition. WIVK was the sponsor, and all these people were calling my mother saying, you need to get Mandy on that contest, because there was also a kids part of it. So anyway, she signed me up, and I did the week. There were several different competitions, and so I did all of them. And at the end of the week, they announced the winners, and they'd given out the kids award, and I didn't win that, and so we just figured, well, I guess that's it. So we started to leave, and all the powers that be and the judges and everyone was like, no, don't go anywhere, don't go anywhere. Well, lo and behold, I won both of the adult awards and ended up working at Dollywood for a couple of years, worked with All for Family, and it was an amazing experience. Susie Boggess was on her last, I guess she had been working for Silver Dollar City and then Dollywood, but she had just gotten a record deal with Capitol Records, so this was going to be her last season. We shared a dressing room, and just an amazing experience.
Among those you beat out, Travis Tritt?
Yes. Not something that I think he'd brag about, that a 10-year-old kicked his butt. But I did.
I love that. I love that.
You mentioned Susie signing with Capitol. 1988, on the 17th day of June, Garth Brooks signed his label deal with Capitol.
Wow, that's amazing.
And in 1992, on this date, Billy Ray Cyrus was #1 on the U.S. country chart with Achy Breaky Heart. The incredible success it was on the radio, as well as the dance craze that went along with it. And from the songbook, Mandy, you chose this, and you're going to be doing these songs at Chiefs on the 28th. It says Mandy Barnett, the Nashville Songbook, songs that made Nashville famous.
That's
and
right.
You chose it was a Larry Butler, Chips Moman song that BJ popularized.
BJ, and I was really good friends with BJ. My longtime drummer, Gene Chrisman, introduced me to him, and we were great friends. We collaborated, and I love he and his wife, Gloria, and he was just an amazing friend, and really miss him. And so I wanted to record this song because I love BJ so much.
This is Coffee, Country, and Cody.
It's 11 minutes till 10 o'clock in the Central Time Zone for 9:49. That right? Yep. And good morning from Nashville, Tennessee, in the Magnolia Lobby Studio. Our last week in this studio before our transition to the Roy Acuff home on the Opry Plaza. That'll be our new state-of-the-art radio and television home. On the way to the Grand Ole Opry tomorrow night, Kelly, as you get ready for entertainment with Whispering Bill Andrews, the poor old boy himself.
Y'all got to quit that.
What's the name of his band, Charlie?
Stop.
Poor Folk Boys is what I said.
The Poor Folk.
Thankfully, it was not.
Y'all are gonna say it
Not
wrong.
introducing Bill. This was at the very beginning of the show, and I did correct it immediately. So.
You're gonna say it wrong.
I know. I know.
You gotta stop
Yeah,
that.
it's when we keep playing like bad Porter Wagner introductions, and I just think I'm going to say Raoul Malo instead of Raoul Malo, and it frightens me.
I know.
American Patchwork Quartet, Craig Morgan, Carly Pierce doing something that Charlie says you don't think it's been done before?
No, doing 2 sets, doing an acoustic and then a full band in 2 separate segments of the show.
And then we're going to do an interview sit down
Correct.
after the show in the Circle Room, she and I.
Well, the new album is amazing.
Hummingbird.
Yes.
And where do you get a hummingbird for your album cover?
She got that at Hobby Lobby. Please ask her about that. When you're doing the Circle Room with her, when you're doing the after show amp, please just say, someone told me about the artwork. And that if someone is interested in recreating this picture, they could do so by going to Hobby Lobby and getting a hummingbird on a stick.
And her initials are Kelly Sutton.
Yeah. Her name rhymes with belly button, so good luck.
Jeannie Seeley, our buddy Don Schlitz, Country Music Hall of Famer and Opry star, and Aaron Weber with the comedy. That is tomorrow night's Opry
So
lineup.
good. All right, big breaking news. This is so exciting, and congratulations to our friends Lorianne Crook and Charlie Chase.
You're here.
Yes, it was just announced they are going in to the Radio Hall of Fame. 2 actual people that are going in, 2 different sets that are representing country music. So Lorianne and Charlie, of course, with Crook and Chase. The Crook and Chase Countdown been going on for years. You can hear it here on our air on Sunday afternoons. That's when the Crook and Chase Countdown airs on WSM. But then also Mary McCoy. I don't know Mary, but she has been doing radio for years in Texas. She is a midday disc jockey down in Texas, and she is going in as well. They were going into the Radio Hall of Fame September 19th, going to be held at the Omni Hotel here in Nashville.
Didn't she do an Opry segment, Mary? Didn't she
Mary
get to do a
McCoy.
guest announcer segment with us?
That actually does ring a bell.
Or she was, I think we were going to have her on the show.
Correct.
And there was a conflict.
She couldn't make it on the show, but I got to do the segment with her at the Opry House.
Okay.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
Well,
And
congratulations.
I think her
to
flight got delayed coming in or something. Yeah.
And one of the first freelance gigs I had an opportunity just a few weeks after getting here 30 years ago to do that made me realize, okay, this dream is really coming true. I was sitting across, just like I am from you right now, from Lorianne, filling in for Charlie on the Countdown Show.
And was she like very nice and very helpful?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Ask her about the infamous Bill Cody butt stretch when you see her
Oh,
next.
good. Okay, file that away.
Yes.
I will
Ask her
keep
to
that.
recreate it if you would. It's a real thing.
It's a real thing. Man, oh man. I was lucky enough to work with Charlie for 8 years at Fox
It's
17.
great that both of us have worked with both of them.
Yeah, I mean, Ralph brought me to town, and Ralph quickly decided after starting this morning show back that they hired me for. I mean, he was probably 3 months in, and he was like, you know what? I don't think I want to do this anymore. And so Charlie was filling in. It was the Ralph Emery show, the Ralph Emery morning show. His name was on it for another year. And Charlie is like, how much longer am I filling in for Ralph? I've been here for over a year. Should we change the name of the show? And we finally did. So love you, Charlie, and we are so very happy for you and Lorianne. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, we are also very happy for Cole Swindell. He got married. How about that? Yeah, he got married out in California. He is a married man. Said I do to Courtney Little. That was on June 12th out in Sonoma, California.
Did she fix Marry Me Chicken? Is that what put it over the top?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm going to say no, but maybe. So they have been dating for a while. They met at a NASCAR event, which is really funny. She was working for Monster Energy Drink, and he was there, I think, performing. They exchanged numbers, and they became friends. And then I think they started dating officially around 2021. So they've been together for a while. He asked her to marry him last year, and they just got married. So congratulations to the happy couple. And one more thing, if you want to be in Blake Shelton's video, you can do it. All you have to do is send a picture of yourself on the beach. Here's what we're talking about. Follow me. Some beach.
Somewhere.
20 years now. Can you believe that?
Since some beach?
Since some beach. Yeah. Go to his website. You can get information there and send him your pictures.
Paul Overstreet, I believe, responsible, at least one of the writers of some beach.
Rory Feek.
And Rory Feet?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I'm just thinking about Bobby Braddock as the dentist in the video. It's worth watching just for that. Here is Mo Pitney to take us home.
He's gross, she's got cootie.